You guys are settling down? Okay. Hello and welcome to TedX Issue 2024. Come on! Before we start, I would like to invite you to all turn off your mobile devices to not impede with today's recording in the back. So you can do that right now.
And we're delighted to have all your smiling faces here today. And I know it's been a while since you.
Well, our theme for this year is Delta. I think we've all come across Delta in sciences, in mathematics, and the three sides of Delta symbolizes risk, change, uncertainty. But what is it exactly?
And I mean, everyone goes through change, whether that be environment, or change in mindset, or even change in clothing, which I think we've all experienced today.
But what exactly is change?
I think that change is a concept that's so abstract.
No, I'd like to disagree. I think change is more tangible than abstract because
I think change is thought-provoking.
no, it's continuous.
No, it's static.
No, it's logical.
No, it's free.
No,
Okay, let's have our brilliant students here today present change from their perspective instead.
And hopefully by the end of this, you'll have an understanding of what it is.
Yeah, so why don't you guys go right there and continue this conversation? Go ahead.
Okay, good. Whew. Yeah. Well, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, but we can make continuous changes every day to become better and wake up better than we were yesterday.
Well, unfortunately, some of us struggle to wake up in the morning on time. Yeah, but our first speaker will introduce us ways to make small changes in our life to achieve greatness.
Please welcome Miguel Pereira.
So, to start, I want to ask everyone here a question. What New Year's resolutions did you guys make this 2024? Maybe it was exercising more, or reading more books. Maybe it was developing better sleep habits. Well, statistically, almost half of us here have already given up on these resolutions. A study out of Fisher's College of Business concluded that only around 9% of people will actually complete their resolutions. Moreover, 23% will quit by the first week. And by the end of January, 43% will have completely dropped them. Every year, we try to improve ourselves with resolutions. However, these are often the same ones we failed the previous year. So why is it that we're stuck in this cycle of failure that just keeps on repeating itself with resolutions that never become accomplished? That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about change, positive change in ourselves, and how we can achieve it. I also want to bring light to the biggest problem that every one of us here faces, the mistake that you are making that is impeding your ability to achieve your goals. And research has shown that it has nothing to do with discipline or work ethic. But before we get into that, I want to start with a story. This is David Brailsford. In 2003, he was hired to train the British cycling team. Now, keep in mind, at the time, the British team had exactly 0 Tour de France wins. 0. They were so terrible that some brands refused to sell them gear, just so that they wouldn't become associated with them. This kind of poor performance would have disappointed everyone, except Brailsford, who just took it upon himself to change things around. However, he was confronted with a dilemma. So many coaches before him had already tried everything, different training methods, nutrition programs, hydration strategies, and nothing seemed to make a difference. So Brailsford realized he had to make a change. He had to make a drastic change. So he came up with an idea that no one else had done before. He decided that he would break down every component of cycling, every single one of them, and then just make a tiny adjustment to make it just 1% better. Now, by the end of it, he came up with dozens of components and small little twists that he made to improve the performance of the athletes. And some of them were so ridiculous, you wouldn't believe them. So I brought some so you can see. You can actually Google these are real. Firstly, he had every biker wear temperature-controlled shorts during the race. For optimal muscle, blah, 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 comfort, basically. Secondly, he had hired a surgeon, not for medical purposes so much, but rather to teach each cyclist how to wash their hands properly to avoid getting a cold. This is real, you can Google this. Thirdly, he painted the van's inside, the van they used to transport the bike. He painted it white so that he could spot dust molecules and he could clean them better so they don't interfere with the gears of the bike. And then finally, he had custom pillows made for each one of the racers, so they could enjoy a couple more, minutes of sleep every night. But it was such a small difference. And that's basically why every other country's coach was laughing at him. Like, there's no way these small improvements are going to make a difference. Cycling is cycling, and at the end of the day, it's one leg after another, just pedaling. Well, soon enough, the Beijing 2008 Olympics came along, and it was Judgment Day. Brailsford knew that everything was at stake. He could either succeed spectacularly or fail in the most public and embarrassing manner possible. He knew that his name would forever be tied to the outcome of these games. Eventually, the games ran their course, and at the end, they were tallying the results. England had won 60% of the gold medals available, going from the worst team in the world to the top elite level. How was this possible? Everyone was surprised. This was a true shock to the world. In such a short amount of time, the worst had become the best. But it didn't stop there. Because in the following years, England and the British team amounted a total of 6 Tour de France wins, 4 of which were back-to-back. This was unprecedented. And David Brailsford was named Sir for his success, and the British team of cycling engraved his name in history as the greatest success story in cycling. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, Brailsford found the key to improvement. He found the master key to achieve any of our goals. And that's what I want to talk about today. Once you embrace this, it truly becomes effortless to progress. But before I tell you about it, I want to show you. The graph you see right now shows how if you get 1% better every day, by the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better. Let that sink in for a second. 1% better every day turns out to be 37 times better by the end of the year. Any of us can get 1% better every day, any of us. And those of you who are taking math and are familiar with exponential growth will understand that this works because of the power of compounded gains, which actually Albert Einstein famously quoted to be the 8th wonder of the world. However, it wasn't Einstein, or Brailsford for that matter, who came up with this concept first. It goes all the way back to the ancient philosophy of Kaizen, the Japanese equivalent of good change. Now, what Kaizen preaches is that through small daily improvements, we can all compound these gains and eventually reach massive success. A great example of this is the tale of Milo. Some of you guys might have heard of it already. But Milo was the ancient Greek wrestler, the best at the time, who dominated the field with his freakish strength. Now, what did Milo do that was so special? Well, he had a very peculiar way of training. He first started out by going to a cattle one day and picking up a small, when he was just born, just a cattle. Anyone can really do that. What he did, though, is that the next day he came after the same cattle and performed the same feat. And he did that over and over again through the years. And as the cattle became larger and eventually a bull, Milo's strength grew with it. Now, seemingly, the cattle only grew by, let's call it 1% a day, if even. But the gains for the strength of Milo compounded, and eventually he became the strongest man in Greece. That's the power of Kaizen. It's a seemingly effortless transition from nothing to everything. That's why it's the ultimate key to success. Another example of this is very simple. Some of you, myself included, Maybe want to start reading more books. We've all heard the readers are leaders, and we just want to maybe take in some of the information that books have to offer us. So we start by saying, oh, I'll start reading a book a week, or a book every 2 weeks. Now, well, this is not the right approach to do it. That's the equivalent of Milo trying to pick up the ball on the first day. Instead, you should tell yourself, I'm going to read 15 pages a day. That's nothing. 15 pages is nothing. And you might see, oh, well, I'm not getting anywhere with that. By the end of the year, if you read 15 pages a day, and everyone here can do that, this is how many books have I read. It's quite a few. And that's the power of Kaizen. Just small improvements every day, compounding. I'm not a fan of motivational speakers. They usually just kind of hype you up for a day or two, after which you completely forget about them, and it's just time wasted. Instead, I like to focus on the real world and the real examples, the real people. So that's all I want you to take from this presentation today. I want you to remember the tale of Milo and how he used the cattle, who eventually grew into a bull, to train himself, slowly but surely. I want you to remember Brailsford, who took the worst team in cycling and took it to an elite level, to the top of the ladder. And I want you to realize that you can do the absolute same if you just embrace good change every day. You should just embrace Kaizen and achieve all your goals. Thank you.